Welcome back to the podcast. It is the third part in our Adapting to the New Era series. Welcome back.
Yeah, when I heard you say the third, I thought you were going to say the date. And I was like, dude, it's like the 31st. Or this the 30th. What is it?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm not even sure how many days are in May. It's May, right?
Let's look. January, February, March, April, May.
So a knuckle means
31.
31. Okay.
No, is that right? No, it means 30.
Okay, so a knuckle means 30.
I think a knuckle.
See, that's the
means
problem
30.
with the knuckle thing for me is I can't remember what the knuckles mean.
Right, because I can remember it because I know that February does not have 30 days.
Got it. So you start with a knuckle.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that clears that up. Yeah, I've been wanting to know.
Tip number 1.
Should always find things out while we're on camera. Knowledge you need to know when you need to know it.
Right.
What's that thing Dave Chappelle does? Modern solutions for the modern age or something?
I love Dave Chappelle.
I can't remember.
He's so great.
Yeah.
So we have 3 more actionable items or tips for you to help you navigate through this new way of doing business. And tip number 1 is to have your own direct booking website.
Yeah, I want to feel like that's something we've talked about before.
We have talked
probably
about
in different
before.
context, right?
But now it should be, and I believe we talked about this on one of the other parts of the series, but it should be very obvious now that it's more important now more than ever for you to not depend on the booking platforms. So, and having your own direct booking website will give you so much more control over not just who you're marketing to, but how you are marketing to them. And it's
more profitable too.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think
We
we've
have
always
talked
had our
about that.
direct booking website,
Right.
but it's kind of been a secondary thing. It's been, okay, if we had repeat guests, then we would sometimes bring them through there. I think I actually did get a booking directly through our website one time. I was like, how did that happen?
I know. It's like,
Because we don't market the thing, and how did they even find us? So I don't know if it was a previous guest that gave it to somebody else.
That's right.
Because they'd never stayed with us before.
I remember that. We were like, how did they find us?
Yeah, so it was interesting. But now most of our revenue these past few months has actually come through those direct bookings. So yeah, it's for sure, at least in our experience, it's something that has not only been profitable, but necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the best things about having your own direct booking website is that you can do SEO and optimize that SEO. So,
Well, you have to if you want people to find you.
right. Yes.
And if you don't know, SEO is search engine optimization. So it's setting up your website in such a way that you actually show up when somebody searches for
right.
your area and what they're housing or whatever they're looking for.
Right. So if somebody were to go do a Google search for short-term rental Charlotte, then we would want
to show up. Yes.
Like number 1, right? So that's an example. And something else you can do is to put your business on Google Maps, which we have done 1 or 2 places.
Yeah, so it's Google Business, but it also does put you on Google Maps, and one of the primary reasons I did that initially was for SEO reasons. It actually helps you show up better on Google if you're actually on the map, so to speak, like literally. And so I put us there for that reason, but it also gives you a place to collect reviews. So
that's right.
Your reviews,
That's cool.
That probably should be another tip, but your reviews, if you've been on Airbnb this whole time or HomeAway, the VRBO this whole time, your reviews are kind of captured over there on that platform. And so if somebody does find you through your Google search or on the web or something like that, you want to start collecting reviews over there as well, because that's where they're going to see them.
And I think that goes back to the whole control issue too. is you having more control over.
Well, yeah, sure.
Over
They're
that.
your reviews.
Yes.
I mean, you want control over them.
And they're
for sure.
your customers. Yes, exactly. So that is tip number 1, is to set up your own direct booking website. And we use a site called Logify, and they actually do a really good job of helping you, walk you through how to set up your own direct booking website. So that it gives you step by step in the help center. If you go to the help center on Logify, and
yeah, it's actually good help. Like
it's actually right.
Yeah, so sometimes you go to the help section and it's kind of like that wasn't very helpful, even though it's called help. But theirs really is, and not only is it just a website, it's also your booking engine, because you got to think about that. A website's fine, but then how do people book with you? How do you take payments? And all the back end stuff. So it's giving you the calendar management and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. So Logify is a great resource for
it's the one
all
we
of
use
that.
currently. Yeah.
Yes.
And there are others, but that's the one we're familiar with.
Yes. Yes. So tip number 1. And tip number 2 is now that people are very concerned about cleanliness and social distancing, it is very important. And one of the main things that people are looking for now is self-check-in. And so that is tip number 2, is to allow your guests to check themselves in. And in order to do that,
you're going to need electronic locks, right?
Some
smart locks, yeah.
Some smart lockage.
Not necessarily.
Situation.
I mean, you could still do the lock box and the key thing.
You could do that,
but then again, it's kind of like, how do you wash a key?
Yes.
And a lock box? I guess you can. But knowing that, hey, when the cleaning staff comes, they wash the keypad off,
yes, they disinfect
and all that
too.
kind of thing.
Yep.
And yeah, so if that's kind of something we've advocated for a while. But if you were ever looking for a time to do it, now's the time.
Now's the time.
Now's the time to put those in. And just as a tip on those, you're going to want to look for something that you can change the door codes remotely.
Yep.
Because one of the main advantages of not only just self check-in is being able to change the codes in between guests, so that it's always secure. You don't have somebody that just passes the code along to their buddy, or heaven forbid, somebody with bad intent gets a hold of it and comes in and robs the place, or just something innocent, like you have a guest come back and, people will do this. They'll leave something behind. They'll be like, oh, we'll just come back and get it. Right.
Ooh,
and then they walk in on your
point.
next guest, and that's not a good situation either.
Ooh.
So yeah. So just for the security reasons, but I think you're talking about for, cleanliness reasons as
yes.
well. Yeah.
Yes. And the social distancing part too, right? Because
some people do meet their guests.
Yes, some people do
and
that.
Now guests are like, I don't want to meet so much.
Right. Yeah. So people are kind of shying away from that a little bit more nowadays. So being able to offer that will allow you to get more bookings.
So you're saying that people are actually searching for places that have
self check-in. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So
I've actually seen some motels start to do that. Some hotel
that's
chains.
Interesting.
Yeah, some of the bigger ones like Marriott and places like that actually have apps now where instead of
the key,
instead of having to go to the front desk and get the key, because they recognize this as well.
Interesting.
And that's their business model, is meet people at the front desk and all that. And so I don't know if it's people that are current customers or that you're in their program or what, but I do remember reading about that. Now they're doing this thing with an app on your phone where you can just kind of check yourself in and then go to the room and get whatever you need and all that kind of stuff.
I want one.
So they're recognizing that as well. It's not just the small guys, but hugely important.
I want to do that.
What, you want to get the app and go to
No, I want to have people get our app.
Oh, well, they do have that. I don't personally like the apps, to be honest with you.
Really? Why not?
Because when you have it, I guess it depends on who your client type is, but say you're running a place that's remote that doesn't have good cell service or something, and inevitably what they'll do is they'll show up and their phone doesn't have network.
Gotcha.
And then they don't know what their key code is. They can't get in. They have to they have to download this app while they're standing out in the rain.
Right. Gotcha.
Because people don't read.
Gotcha.
And they'll wait till they get there to realize, oh, I need an app.
That's true.
That I have to download.
That's so true.
I personally don't like those.
Interesting.
August Locks is one that we have seen recommended in the past. And they have an app, and it sounds really cool until people start calling you about it.
Right.
So it's I'd rather not have that personally.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, although it sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
And international travelers, sometimes they don't have data plans.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Or they can't roam, or
Right.
So
we've had quite a few international travelers in the past, but
not these days.
Not these days. Not so much.
Yeah.
So that was tip number 2. Do you want to tell people what system we use?
Oh, for our smart locks?
For our smart locks?
Well, I would say that it's part of the Vivint security system that we use. But there's the smart locks are not branded Vivint. They're actually they're a Quickset brand, but they basically integrate into the security system. So we tend to buy them as a package, I guess is my answer. We don't actually buy them separate because I won't go into that, but there's all sorts of advantages to having everything.
Ooh, that
tied
could be
together.
another podcast.
Yes, it should be another podcast.
This should be a podcast all in itself. Let's go. Okay. That'll be our next podcast.
Yes.
I need to write that down. So that is tip number 2, is offering a way to for your guests to check themselves in, because they are really looking for that right now. And tip number 3 was actually really interesting. And I heard this on when I was doing some research, and it was talking about advertising with local tourism boards.
Oh, so like if you're going to take direct bookings, how do you advertise?
Yes.
Beyond just on the web?
Okay. Yes. So you can go to the local tourism boards in your city or in your area, and they're probably online. You could probably do a Google search for those as well. And there's probably more than one. I know there is here in Charlotte.
Yeah, like there's the Visitors Authority and what's the other ones? There's a couple other ones, but you're right.
So
that's their whole job, is to focus on getting people to come to the area and where to go and that sort of thing, right?
They're looking to promote the area.
Yeah.
So anytime you can get on their radar and possibly put your properties on their website would be great. And sometimes, a lot of times, it's free. So it could be free advertising for you and your business.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have thought it would be free. But
sometimes,
okay.
Yeah, sometimes it is. And it's a great way for people to like recommend you, right? If they've had a good experience with you, then they're more likely to recommend you to people who are traveling to the area.
Yeah, and the first part of advertising is always awareness.
Yes.
So people have to know you're even there.
Yes.
And even if nobody ever,
really good point.
That's something that I've kind of learned kind of recently from people that are smarter than me about marketing and advertising, is that sometimes when you advertise a place like that, it may be that nobody actually directs book from there per se, but it makes them aware of you.
Yes.
And hey, okay, even if they didn't, they'll tell their friend, they'll tell a family member.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
So awareness, knowing that you're there is the first step.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And something to kind of go along with that, and it, you can take this as an extra tip, but
it's like 3B.
Yes, this is like 3B, but it kind of goes along with that, is establishing those relationships with local restaurants and local shops as well, and possibly even getting some of their products and putting them into your units as a way to promote other local businesses.
Okay.
So maybe offering like coupon to a local pizzeria or any local restaurant. Maybe,
what if you had like a local business that sold soap or something?
Yes, something like,
and you could put that in there
cool
as like
would that be?
like a sampler pack, and then
I
like
would
their
love
card
that. How cool would that
it
be?
says, "Hey, if you really like this stuff,
Yes.
here's where you can order it," type thing.
Yep.
That would be really cool.
Yep.
And
Or
it would-
coffee.
Oh, coffee's a good
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
right. Like any kind of coffee, because we provide the Keurig machines, but the Keurig machine has those
It has the cups.
the reusable ones where you can put the ground coffee
Yeah, that's
in
true. It
too,
does, yeah.
right? So you can get any like a local coffee shop, and they can have their own brand in there, and you could even set something up where you could sell it inside your unit. And, if your guest wants to purchase it, maybe you mark it up a little bit and you purchase it from the business and then put it in your unit and mark it up a little bit. And you,
as a convenience, so you can just take it home with you.
Yep.
We talked about that before
Yep.
with certain things. Like I've heard of people doing that with local artists
yes, that's cool.
for the artwork on the wall. So I think you've been in businesses before where it's on the wall, but it has a price on
Yes.
it. Like if you like this, here's the price,
Right.
and just take it home.
Yep.
And so I think that would be an interesting way to also support other local businesses too.
Yep. I love it.
And then,
Absolutely
of course,
love it.
reciprocal to that is people that go visit the art gallery, there's going to be some kind of flyer there that says, "Hey, if you need a place to stay
Yep,
or
exactly.
whatever, here's this other place." And it's a way to help each other out and make people that stay with us aware of them and their products, and people that go to them and what's the word I'm looking for? Not vend from them. What do you do when you go to a shop? What's the what's the English word that's better than I go there to buy?
I am a patron.
Patron was when they patronize those other businesses. That's the big word I was looking for.
I think patronize means something else.
Oh, well,
It's
you're a patron.
No, but patron can be a subject and a verb.
I think you patronize a business.
Okay.
I know the other word, the other meaning too, but
I don't know. I'm going to have to go look that up.
I don't know. We shouldn't do these kind of things live because then people will be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
But it's real.
Get a dictionary.
Get a dictionary.
Google is my dictionary.
Google it. I'm going to have to Google it later.
Probably.
But anyway, it's great.
But you get the idea.
It's a great way to diversify your services like that. And I think that's a great tip. I love that one.
Yeah, I like that one too. And I like the revenue component of it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially since, if you're in an area where you've had to cut rates, which you probably are, you got to make it up somewhere. And that's a place to make it up. And it's just a way to provide more value to your customers.
Yep.
And, make a little more money maybe. And then when all this comes back, then it'll be something that you had in place all along, and it'll just be icing on the cake,
Yep.
right?
I love it.
So, yeah.
Love it. So those are your 3.5
3.5
tips
for this session.
For this session. So
Okay.
the first one was to have your own direct booking website so that you can create SEO and go on Google Maps so that people can find you when they are doing a Google search. Tip number 2 was to provide your guests with their with self check-in, and hopefully you can automate that. And tip number 3 was to advertise with local tourism bureaus. So.
And then 3B was local businesses.
Local businesses, yes. So
collaborate with them as well. I like that. I like those.
Yep, very good.
Good stuff.
I know.
What he's like, I know. I looked it up.
I thought of it. I did the research.
She did do the research. I'm like, what's the podcast today? And he's like, well, here's what I've learned.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what I've learned.
I love it.
And that's how it works around here.
Yes.
So we hope that you found value And if so, please like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next time.
The next time or
Yes.
the next episode?
Next episode.
We'll catch you the next time or on the next time.
I don't think it really matters.
It doesn't matter.
I'm going to punch you in the tank.
Next time.